The only New Year's bonus for exactly $888 was mine. My husband, Ethan, laughed and explained that he must have missed it when he was getting the cash. I glanced over at the intern, Ella, and she gave a slight nod. She said I was generous, not as stingy as the rumors made me out to be. He said the bonus for the star of the show was one of a kind, the most special one. I stared at the transaction number, which started with AC, and was lost in thought. Of course not, I said with a smile as I took it, then promptly put it out of my mind. That is, until New Year's Eve, when he stepped out onto the balcony to take a call. I was bored, so I swiped open the photo album on his phone. The most recent picture was, to my surprise, a screenshot. In the screenshot, a Professor Davis had posted on his Facebook. Is my little grandson getting too big? Is he still taking up all your space? Below that, Ella had replied, it's mostly because I like it. Otherwise, he wouldn't pay any attention to me. I tapped on the original photo from the Facebook post. It was a massive Lego set, assembled and sitting in a living room. I'm going to take a shower. Okay, he replied, hanging up and opening iMessage. He found a screenshot, quickly sent it to Ella, and then deleted the conversation history. I opened the photo album and zoomed in on the picture, my eyes finally landing on the wall in the background. It was a diagram of the plumbing and electrical wiring, along with some equations. Ethan's diagnostic imaging work had always been recognized as top tier within the company. He handled the imaging, I handled the clinical side. We were considered the perfect couple at the company. He wasn't having an affair. His life was a straight line between the office and home. But this picture told a different story. I zoomed in to examine it carefully. I've always had something of a photographic memory. It was the floor plan for one of our new real estate developments, the one located in Chicago. I went back to the bedroom. Ethan was pretending to be asleep, but his breathing was heavy and uneven. Then, the name Ella escaped his lips in his sleep. He had left a sticky note on the nightstand. I looked at the familiar profile of his sleeping face, and it was suddenly that of a stranger. It reminded me of the apartment my first love and I rented in college. He used to say he liked the quiet of a smaller city, and he made me breakfast every morning. I opened the picture again. Beneath the Lego box, I could see a tiny baby's hand clutching the edge of the frame. There was even a little tooth mark on it. I looked at the floor plan. It was identical to the layout of my parents' house. My parents lived on the floor below us, while Ethan and I lived upstairs. He walked over and drew the curtains. I looked up. Honey, why are you still awake? Oh, something came up at the office. I have to head in for a bit. You're going to the office now? There's an issue with the client's blueprints, and I need to go confirm the details. He pulled open the closet door. Okay, you go handle it. I'll try to get some more sleep. I closed my eyes. The lingering scent of Ella was still on the sheets, a sharp, painful reminder. I didn't sleep at all that night. Dawn broke. I showered, did my makeup, and put on a business suit. Ethan was still asleep, a faint smile on his lips. I drove straight to the development. I parked my car, noted the name of the complex, and memorized the building number, B1602, and the assigned parking spot. I wasn't sure of the exact unit, but I knew Ethan's car. Just then, a new Audi A6 pulled into the garage. It was Ethan's car. He pulled into a spot. Ella, without any makeup on, got out of the passenger seat holding a baby who looked to be about a year old. There was a little milk smudge on her cheek. The baby giggled, reaching out with a tiny hand. He parked, waiting for Ella to get out. She carried the child toward the building, went straight upstairs, and pressed the elevator button with a practiced ease. Are you a guest for Unit 1602 in the B Tower? The security guard leaned out of his booth, pointing toward the building. It's that building up ahead. The parking garage is elevated, so don't park in the wrong spot next time. I stood off to the side, watching them with a smile. I took out my phone, aimed it at their little family of 3, and started recording. Ethan put the baby down, kissed Ella on the forehead, and then got in his car and drove away. Ella carried the baby upstairs, watching the car until it was out of sight before turning to swipe her key fob at the building's entrance. I watched her press the button for the 16th floor. I walked over, called the elevator, and took it to the 17th floor. Ella, what are you doing here? She smiled and handed me a file folder. Nothing. I was just in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by. By the way, I asked, that client's address in the B Tower, is that one of your family's properties? She froze for a second, then laughed. Yeah, my dad says smaller cities are nice and convenient for retirement. Yeah, I lowered my voice. Didn't your parents mention that Alex was your first love and that you two hadn't completely moved on? She stopped, and the color drained from her face. You work for my husband, and my parents bought this condo for me for when I get married. You should be more careful during future handovers. Ethan's smile froze on his face. My first love, and I never really broke up, as you know. Alex is your first love. She froze, her expression shifting. I've always been generous. I made a note of the apartment number, B1602. Back in my own apartment, I entered Ella's name and the unit number into my computer. I didn't want her money. I wanted her assets. When I got home, Ethan was there. He was working on a Lego set with pieces scattered all over the floor. Honey, are you not feeling well? He looked up. What's wrong? Nothing, I'm just back. I slipped off my heels. You smell like you've been working out. But why is there also a faint scent of baby formula? His hands, busy with the Lego pieces, paused for a moment. Really? I was sweating a lot. Maybe I bumped into someone with a baby. I stood up, walked over, and leaned down to kiss him. What's this? Feeling affectionate today. He seemed surprised. I threw a thick stack of receipts in his face. Ethan, you're a bit dirty, I said, wiping my mouth in disgust. He froze completely. Ella, a mere intern, has been picking the lock on my office door every day. She was dressed in a business suit, waiting for me right by the elevators. How does an intern come up with millions of dollars? Ella, these expense reports, did you sign all of them? I placed a stack of papers on her desk, and she nodded. She was imitating Ethan's handwriting. Those are all from my previous work. I told you, it's my family's business. So, they were partners, working together to deceive me. I suppressed my rage and pretended I knew nothing. I had already called these clients. Their office supply purchases are all settled in a lump sum after a project is completed. I flipped through the thick stack of receipts. Baby formula, diapers, toys, clothes. The receipts were listed under office supplies, but the itemized list was full of baby products. A few of them were even signed. Ella, this payment is pretty urgent. Could you cover it for now? She looked at me and smiled. Of course, I'll take care of it right away. You can cover this payment for now. I handed her the invoice, my eyes drawn to her neck. What happened to your neck? She instinctively covered it with her hand. Oh, my cat at home scratched me by accident. That must be some cat she has. Meanwhile, I had the finance department bring me all of the expense reports. The ones that are signed are for immediate reimbursement, and there's a record of everything in the system. So that's how they were using the receipts. I turned on the call recording on Ethan's phone and used it to get access to all of the company's procurement records. I filtered the records for everything handled by Ella, and sure enough, her name was on all of them. A spreadsheet popped up on the screen. I noticed a supplier named Premium Baby Supplies. My company used to be in the medical field, so all our suppliers are vetted and transparent. So how did a designated baby supply company suddenly appear on our list? I called him and asked for the procurement contract. The prices were 30% higher than the market rate. I went to the business registry website and typed in Premium Baby Supplies. The legal representative was listed as Ella's mother, a woman named Mary Davis. I took screenshots of all these pages, printed them out, and locked them in my safe. That day, I was taking Ethan to the hospital, but on the way there, I took a detour. I used my phone to log into Ethan's personal bank account. My parents had set it up for me back in college, and the password was my birthday. He never changed it. The login was successful. The balance showed $368.50. Over $1 million was gone. I opened the transaction history. A year ago, when Ella got pregnant, he started transferring the money out in increments. The memo for the final transfer read, I love you, honey. I traced the money to the owner of Unit B, 1602. It was Ella. It was always her. Ethan had already been to her parents' house. I couldn't let on that I knew. If I reported him, I would also have to prove that the money was marital property, and Ella's pregnancy would complicate things. Otherwise, I could be the one left with nothing. Ethan, you were a cruel man. When Ethan got home, I was arranging a bouquet of flowers. He always liked it when I dressed in my business suits. I knew he would see the hickey on my neck. What's that? Honey, the company's annual gala is this weekend. We're going to a resort in Lake Geneva. It'll be a nice getaway. I took off my shoes and handed them to him. You seem tired lately. We should go and relax together. I felt the corner of my mouth lift into a smile. I sent him the address and told him to pick me up. That weekend, we were at the resort in Lake Geneva for the company's annual gala. A stage had been set up in the courtyard. I was busy handing out raffle tickets to the employees. Ella was there too. She was holding her baby, and from across the crowd, she kept glancing back at me. Just as I'd planned, she saw the hickey on my neck. She had the baby with her, who was dressed in a cute little outfit. A few of my female colleagues gathered around to coo over the baby. Ella, This baby looks just like you, especially around the eyes. He's my ex-boyfriend, she said. We got back together. She let it slip accidentally and quickly covered her mouth, then smiled and carried the baby away from the group. Well, it's a small town. The social circles are small. You're always running into people. She walked over to me, a hint of defiance in her eyes. The baby looked up at me and said, Auntie Ella smells nice. I need to use the restroom. I never thought that one day I'd be so thoroughly betrayed by an intern I had personally mentored. I genuinely did admire her, and I've always had a soft spot for smaller towns. I turned to look at her, but she avoided my gaze. Where did you two go? Ethan frowned and pointed behind him. I was just over there talking with Johnson for a bit. I looked at the baby in Ella's arms and smiled. You know, the baby really does look a bit like you. They say nephews often look like their uncles. She just smiled and walked away, holding the baby. I watched her as she walked away. Ethan went up on stage to give his speech. He stood beside me. When he finished, the room erupted in applause. He took out his phone and sent me a text. To thank everyone for their hard work this past year, the company will be presenting a special award today. In the audience, everyone craned their necks, eager to see what was happening. He held up one hand, paused for effect, and said, $200,000. The entire room gasped, then broke into thunderous applause. Ethan looked at me with a deeply emotional expression, clearly expecting me to be moved to tears. I took the microphone and said, This award is for Ella Davis for her outstanding contributions to the company. The final decision on all of it rests entirely with my wife. With that, I handed the microphone back to Ethan and gave him a meaningful smile. Honey, you need to recognize who's been working silently behind the scenes. You have to give it to the person who deserves it most. He paused, a look of delight spreading across his face. He thought I'd had a change of heart and was no longer going to press the issue. The $200,000 is for Ella. Her promotion to a full-time position was completely legitimate. He squeezed my hand, his excitement palpable. Honey, you're the best. I promise I'll treat you right. Ella is my first love, but I swear, nothing happened between us. After the gala, Ethan pulled me aside. Honey, about that special award, what were you thinking? Giving it to her, it's for Ella. She's very capable, so of course it should go to her. I pulled my hand away. Just ask for a divorce, and I'll sign the papers. He grabbed my arm, refusing to let go. Fine. I'll call Ella up on stage in front of all the interns and executives, and I'll make her a full-time employee right in front of you. Don't cause a scene, he said with a smile, but his eyes were cold as ice. Ethan was staying in a suite at the resort. He claimed he was with a client. Downstairs, Ella and I were sharing a quad room on the second floor. I was sharing a bed with her. Ella said she felt like she was in the dark. The phone under my pillow vibrated, jolting me awake. It was a smiley face emoji from Alex. It was a simple message. I'm on it, don't worry. My phone screen lit up. It was a screenshot from Instagram with a photo attached. In the picture, Ethan was wearing a paper crown and blowing out birthday candles. Across from him sat a young woman holding a baby. On the wall behind them, a banner read, Happy First Birthday. Okay, I texted back. I trust you to handle it. I saved a screenshot and dialed Alex's number. Same here. At the office, Ethan's cronies have been spreading rumors about me. The person on the other end of the line was Ella. You're holding the recorder too close. Can you please just give me one chance? I'm begging you. Ella, what right do you have to ask for anything? You use company money to support your first love and build your own little slush fund. She's all you have. Due to mismanagement, the company has to conduct layoffs. And you're taking money to support her? I transferred the funds to an account under the name Mary Davis. Mary Davis was Ella's mother and also the legal owner of that baby supply company. Ethan, you're not just supporting your mistress. You're supporting her entire family. I hung up, gave Ella one last look, and went downstairs. Ethan wasn't in his second-floor suite. He was in the game room on the first floor. I used my spare key to open the door to his suite. The room was spotless and empty. I opened his briefcase. Inside, I found a folder of documents. A share transfer agreement. The recipient was listed as Ella Davis, and the transferor was Ethan Miller. He was transferring my shares to her, which he had tricked me out of by using a forged power of attorney agreement. Once I signed it, and with Ella's mother's signature already on it, I would be left with nothing. Next to the agreement was a plane ticket to the Maldives. It was for two people. He was planning to use my money and my shares to run away with his mistress after we divorced. I had given him half of my family's company. I took out my phone and photographed every single page. This was all the proof I needed of his infidelity. I I put the original documents back where I found them and left without a sound. Standing outside the door, I looked back and smiled to myself. Ella wasn't going to be so easy to deal with. I ran into Ethan at the top of the stairs on the second floor. In the car on the way down, Ethan draped his jacket over my shoulders. "Did you sleep well, honey?" "Very well. I had a wonderful dream." I leaned against the window and smiled. "Ethan, the company gala is tomorrow." "Tomorrow? That's so soon." "Yes. All of our suppliers and the most important members of our leadership team will be there." He nodded, looking thoughtful. "Okay, you handle the arrangements." I booked a 5-star hotel for the event. I handled all the arrangements myself. I sent a notice to all the senior executives. "There will be a major award presented tomorrow, so everyone please dress your best. We want to make a good impression." The next day, the male executives were all in their best suits, and the women had on elegant dresses and flawless makeup. Ethan's face was practically glowing under the ballroom lights. He had Ella with him, and they moved through the crowd, making toasts with everyone. "This is a distant relative of mine," he'd say. "Please take good care of her." He was introducing that intern, Ella, but among the employee tables, people were whispering to each other. "I heard that the $200,000 grand prize is going to that intern." "Why her? She's only been here a few months, and she's already acting like she runs the place." "Remember young Mr. Peterson? He was a graduate from an Ivy League school." I stood on the second-floor balcony, looking down at the scene below. My assistant had discreetly invited every single employee and supplier to meet with Alex Carter in his car. Alex was my college classmate and also my frenemy. I didn't know him well, but I had been to his company once for a client meeting. The gala officially began. The lights dimmed, and I walked onto the stage. I reviewed the company's performance over the past year and talked about our vision for the future. "I want to thank all of our employees. Thank you, everyone. But most of all, I want to thank my husband, Oscar. He has been my silent support, my rock through everything." I smiled and nodded. Ethan looked at me, his eyes sparkling. "And now, for our special award." A picture of Ella appeared on the screen. "Congratulations to Ella Davis, winner of the special prize of $200,000. Ella ran excitedly onto the stage. The audience applauded, but privately, a storm was brewing. I walked up and handed her a check. She stood in the spotlight, trembling with excitement. I handed her the award and gestured to the audience. "Go on." She took the microphone. "Thank you, sir, and thank you to the company. I will continue to work hard to provide everyone with the best products." After her speech, she walked off the side of the stage. This time, the person she was thanking was Ethan. The screen behind her suddenly changed, displaying a photograph. It was the photo of Ethan holding a baby and blowing out birthday candles. It was the same one from the Instagram post. In the video, Ethan was holding the baby and then leaned in to kiss Ella. The entire room erupted in shocked murmurs. In the audience, everyone was on their feet, craning their necks to see. "Isn't that Ella? What's she doing with the boss? Is that his illegitimate child?" Ethan panicked and tried to grab the microphone from me. But I was prepared. I projected another document onto the screen. It was the transaction details between Premium Baby Supplies and our company, showing every inflated purchase order and the corresponding money trail. It also included the receipts for baby formula and diapers with forged signatures. Next to that, I displayed photos of Ethan and me, including our wedding announcement on Facebook. "It's all fake. I'm a victim here too." I held a microphone up to his mouth. "Using company funds to support your mistress. This is embezzlement of company property. If you knew about it, you'll be going down with him." "Ethan, the video is the proof. What do you have to say for yourself?" The crowd was in an uproar. Ethan's face was ashen. He pointed a trembling finger at me. "Oscar, are you insane? You don't air our dirty laundry in public. Are you trying to destroy me?" Calmly, I played another clip. It was security footage of Ella in my office, practicing my signature, and another clip of her drugging my coffee before forging my name on a document. According to corporate law, embezzlement is a felony. I truly didn't know, and ignorance of the crime doesn't excuse it. Ethan, Alex Carter stood up, and behind him were several police officers. In that moment, Ethan collapsed where he stood. A muscle in Ethan's jaw twitched uncontrollably. Alex walked over and patted me on the shoulder. "Ethan Miller, you're under arrest." He started shaking even more violently, shoved me aside, and ran toward Ella. He pointed at me, his voice shaking. "Oscar, you're a lunatic. This is an internal company dispute. It's a private family matter." I looked at Alex. "Officer, this is my girlfriend he's talking about," Alex said. "He embezzled company funds. The evidence is conclusive. Take him away." It was Ella, She's the one who spent every penny. I was deceived by her. I'm a grown man, and I was played by an intern. It's fake. It's all fake. Some of the employees here are her relatives. Which one is your relative? Who here is on your side? Everyone just looked at each other. They're with me. The receipts say office supplies, and they were all signed by Ella. Ethan's assistant can testify to that. His face went deathly pale. Ella shoved him aside, rushed up to me, and grabbed the microphone. Alex blocked her, snatching it back. This isn't a family matter. You can sort it out at the police station. Take him away. A few officers moved forward and took Ethan by each arm. He struggled like a madman, losing one of his shoes in the process. Oscar, you've ruined me. If you had just had an affair, I might have let it go. But I am the legal owner of this company, and our assets are marital property. By transferring assets, you've ensured I won't get a single penny. As they put him in the car, he kept looking back desperately. I turned and helped Ella to her feet. Come on, kid. Let's go. She clung to me, refusing to move. You're insane. You just wait. Fina. But I need to go to the hospital. I'm calling the police. I laughed and pointed to the screen. In the videos I have, the one of you drinking while holding the baby doesn't look nearly so innocent. Ella, we're not the police, and we're not judges. You broke the law, and you have to face the consequences. Alex nodded. She's a suspect in the joint embezzlement case. Take her away, too. Ella was stunned. I'll go, too. He told me to do it. He made me do everything. I'm just an intern. I don't know anything. With nothing left to lose, she started turning on him. I watched as they led Ella away. Ethan's assistant approached me, trembling. He fell to his knees, shaking. I let out a cold laugh. He made enemies for you. Ethan and I were well and truly finished. The next morning, I was released on bail. The company's lawyer called me. Ella has a lot of personal debt. As for Ethan, that money he embezzled was classified as an investment. It's against regulations, but it's going to be difficult to get a conviction for embezzlement. He's on his way back to the office now. He's calling a board meeting to have you removed. I hung up. I stood in my office, looking out the window. Just as I expected, Ethan arrived. An hour later, the door of my office was thrown open. Ethan stormed in, his face bruised and swollen. His eyes were bloodshot and wild. He threw a folder of documents in my face. Sign it. I looked down. It was a divorce agreement. He wanted me to leave with nothing. If I signed, he would drop the charges. He didn't want the company's money. I laughed. Ethan, did you bring the baby back? You embezzled company funds to support your mistress, and you still have the nerve to make demands of me. Ethan stared at me, stunned. Oscar, you're insane. It was Ella. She was pregnant with your child. If you go to jail, a lot of projects that you personally managed will be in jeopardy. All I have to do is make a few calls, and you'll be the prime suspect. Ella will be, at most, an accomplice. You're a monster. You're not even human. He pointed at the agreement. It's very simple. You sign, and I'll let you go. I'll get out of your life. You give me the shares. You will transfer your shares to me, free of charge, and I will let you off the hook. The thought of Ella made my hand tremble. Ethan smiled. How could you not love Ella? She's carrying your child, your own flesh and blood. It was that so-called first love of hers, Ella. Did she tell you the baby was mine? If he had even a shred of conscience left, he would sign the papers. I looked at him. For money, that woman was willing to throw her own child under the bus. I stood up as well. Ethan, do you really think you've won? I gave a cold laugh. You're currently facing multiple charges, and your lawyer won't be able to help you. It was Ella. She's already confessed to everything. She said you were the one who instructed her to embezzle company funds. All she has to do is say it was you, and you're finished. Oscar, what the hell do you want from me? I looked at his terrified face. I smiled. I took out a USB drive and placed it on the table. What I want, of course, is for you to be utterly and completely ruined. I opened a video file. The conversation between Ella and her mother played from the speakers. Ella, let's go. That child is my flesh and blood. I've already arranged for him to be sent away. All you need from this document is the blank signature page. You sign it and transfer all the assets. I didn't know he could be so ruthless. Once you get the money, we can go abroad. The color drained from Ethan's face. He snatched the USB drive from my hand. You faked this. I have a recording, and I've already reported it to the police. This is the recording, and this is the video of Ella in her hotel room, forging your signature. He froze. You installed a camera in the room? I watched him turn pale. It was Ella. She recorded the video herself. He shook his head, and the papers in his hand fluttered to the floor. Ethan's lips began to tremble. When did you install it? From the moment I saw you and Ella leaving the apartment downstairs. From the moment I saw that Lego receipt. Ethan, did you really think I was that stupid? He grabbed my arm, pleading, let me go, and I'll let you go. Your assets, the company, it's all yours. It was just poor management. You're insane. If the company goes bankrupt, you'll be in debt too. You give me the shares, and we'll cook the books to make it all even out. And then you get out. I smiled. Oscar, you are a cruel man. I looked at him and enunciated every word. Ethan, didn't you take a close look at that share transfer agreement? He froze for a second. What do you mean? It was Ella. She came to see me. On that agreement, the beneficiary's name is clearly written as mine. Ella did it behind your back. I took a copy of a security video out of my bag. Ella stopped being human a long time ago. She's the one who signed it. It was a forgery. That private investigator? I hired him. He planted a bug in your office. I've already reported it to the police. There's also a property registered under your name. I smiled too. That property was never under the company's name. The so-called transfer was actually just moving money to your mother. Ethan, you're pathetic. You've been played by a woman. He stood up and walked over to me. It was Mary Davis's personal account. In reality, it all belongs to Ella, and Ella alone. Every penny you transferred is now in her name. You thought you were transferring shares. In reality, it's all sitting in an offshore account. Ethan, every last cent went straight into my pocket. He collapsed onto the floor. He suddenly grabbed my leg like a wild animal. Oscar, I was wrong. I was out of my mind. It was that bitch Ella. She seduced me. I didn't want this. I never wanted any of this. In the apartment you shared with Ella, you held her in your arms. It was her, and she was carrying your child. I kicked him away. His face twisted in a ferocious snarl. It's fake. Calm down. Ethan, the game is over. You were just the first step. This drama has reached its finale. Alex appeared again, this time with the police. Ethan was arrested on charges of forgery and fraud. And murder. Yeah, he killed someone? Who did he kill? Alex shook his head. The owner of Premium Baby Supplies. Ethan drove him to suicide. His wife, who runs a construction business, had invested their life savings into it. A childhood friend of mine also went bankrupt because of him, because he was the one who designated the supplier for the project. He's going to prison. Ethan's face was as white as a sheet. As they led him away, he was still screaming my name. Oscar, you're so cruel. I watched them take Ethan away. I saw him break down, sobbing uncontrollably. Hello. I answered the phone. It was Ella, calling as she came up from downstairs. I had seized her assets, and now she was in debt. How could she be so pathetic? I was taken into custody. Ella was arrested too. I didn't have that kind of power. I just couldn't stand to look at Ethan's hypocritical face any longer. He said he loved Ella, that she was his first love. Because of me, his career had taken off. My parents had introduced me to the son of a state senator. 6 months later, I went to the prison to see Ethan. He had lost weight. He was so thin he was almost unrecognizable. His head was shaved, and he wore a gray prison jumpsuit with handcuffs on his wrists. Oscar, you came to see me. Oscar, go talk to Alex. He was your classmate. If he just says the word, I can get out of here. Go to him. Bribe him. I'm begging you. He started to cry. Ethan, I once loved you so much. I pressed a photograph against the glass partition. It was of Ella. She was in a hospital bed, her face sallow and her body emaciated. She had a miscarriage. He stared for a moment, but there wasn't a trace of pain in his eyes. My child. It was my child. I smiled. It was yours. I had the doctors run a DNA test. I took out another report. It's Ella's, from her miscarriage. Ethan's pupils dilated in shock. What? Ella has only ever been with one man. It was you. I placed a report in front of him. It's yours. The baby in her belly was yours. It was that first payment, the one with the transaction number starting with C. She met a lowlife at a bar, a guy named Peterson. It was Ella and her parents. Her parents are no good either. Her whole family is a bunch of con artists. They did it all to scam you out of your money. That one-of-a-kind, most special New Year's bonus. You're the one who destroyed it with your own hands. Ethan's face was a deathly shade of gray. His eyes were vacant, and his lips trembled, unable to form words. Lunatic. You're a lunatic. You've killed me. I gave you so much money. Why did you still have to ruin me? I looked at him and spoke slowly and clearly. Because I hate you. I looked at him and smiled. Now you have nothing. I turned my back on him. I used to love you so much. You had no idea. I'm getting married. Because I fell in love with Ella, a woman who has no blood relation to me whatsoever. Ethan, I got what I deserved. I gave him the phone records, the transfer history, He'll have a very comfortable life in there. Ella was released on bail because of her pregnancy and subsequent miscarriage. She had nowhere to go. I took back the apartment I had rented for her. The product line under her name was also completely recalled by me, citing quality control issues. I went back to that apartment complex, and just as I expected, she was waiting downstairs, under a streetlight. I saw her clutching a rag doll and gnawing on a piece of bread. It was the one I had given her, the one she said she loved so much, the one that smelled so nice. A few kids were gathered around her, laughing. "Don't you have a baby in your belly? Where did it go?" She clutched the doll and cried heartbrokenly. "I had a baby too. He called me Mommy. The one you gave birth to was a girl. He would have called me Mommy. You took the money to buy a house." I got out of my car. She saw me and froze. She looked up at me and smiled. "Oscar, it's Ella. You came too. You were deceived. I'm pathetic too. It was that man. He has no money, and now he's in prison. What about my money? I still have my future." I looked at her, acting like a madwoman, like a complete fool. "Ella, you're not a fool. You brought this on yourself, and you still have the nerve to cry." She collapsed onto the ground, all the strength gone from her body. "I was wrong. I'll give you the money back." She reached for me, but I kicked her away. "It was that man. He's dead. He killed himself. He left behind a huge inheritance. I just thought he was pathetic too. I was the only family he had." She froze. I took a piece of paper out of my purse. "It's a court summons. As a company shareholder, you're liable for the debts Ethan incurred. The total is $200,000. She looked at me, but she didn't cry. "Ethan will be watching over you." I threw the summons in her face, and it landed in a puddle. She fell to her knees with a thud. "The money's gone. I have no money. I'm going to sue you. You're a lunatic." She lunged at me, trying to hit me. I kicked her, and she fell into the puddle, struggling and crying for help. I watched her for a moment, then got back in my car. I had no home and no money. We were from two different worlds. She lived in a luxury condo. My parents were retired. Because of this whole affair, they were reported, and I was suspended from my job. The evidence was conclusive. Ethan was convicted on multiple counts, including embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, and forgery. The sentences were to be served concurrently. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and all of his personal assets were confiscated. I went to see him. He didn't cry. He just looked at me, gaunt and lifeless, the light gone from his eyes. Due to malnutrition, he had developed stomach cancer. The doctor said he wouldn't live more than 3 months. I hired the best doctors for him, because I wanted him to live and atone for his sins. He would never be able to pay off his debts in this lifetime. I went to see him. He was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to a dozen machines. I had chosen the very best for him. I could only find work at construction sites or washing dishes in restaurants. I went to see him. He went insane after he was released from the courthouse. He would just smile whenever he saw me. It was me who sent him to hell with my own 2 hands. I was the one who sent him to hell. I smiled. I looked at him and smiled. I went home. I took out that receipt, the one for $888. I had fished it out of the trash can in Ethan's office. I tore up the Lego receipt, too. The one starting with C, the one with the special memo. It was for me. I threw our wedding photos down the garbage chute. I was doing just fine on my own. It was all over. I looked at myself in the mirror. My makeup was flawless, my expression was calm, and I looked put together. I was 30 years old now. I had my company, I had Ella, and I had money. I was going to live a good life. My life was just beginning. I had lost those years, but I'd been given a new life. Ethan, I hope you're repenting in whatever hell you found yourself in. You still owe me that $200,000 bonus.